What up? Lunch with Guff. It's the recap lunch hour with me, Ryan McGuffey, back in the studio today in the freezing ass cold of this beautiful city of Chicago, Illinois. What's up, everybody? Thanks for being here. Looks like the chat room is already off and going, and shockingly, Pablo's the first guy to be there. Happy again to meet Pablo in the flesh on Tuesday when we were at Hooters in Aurora. He says, let's go on one of the coldest days of the year. Thanks for being here. Absolutely, Pablo. And unfortunately, this won't be the last cold day, and it won't be the coldest. What's up, Justin? The guy who broke the Garrett Crochet trade on the recap lunch hour yesterday, right there. Justin Velasco. What's up, Eli? Look, the usual suspects all chiming in. Who's the next player to be traded, Bellinger or Robert? Atomic Burrito getting right to it. Appreciate that. So, yeah, we'll bring up a little baseball here first. I bet you love that awful Crochet deal. Uncle Ted, I know you didn't. It's not an awful deal. You cannot judge this trade for 2 to 3 years. I'll say at least 2 years. It's an A for the Red Sox. But how can you say this is a bad deal? You know nothing about Braden Montgomery. He didn't even play, and he's the 54th ranked prospect in MLB because he was a projected top 3 pick, but due to the ankle injury into the postseason last year for Texas A&M, he didn't play. So he could easily vault. I said this yesterday on the podcast, which, by the way, I said this yesterday on the podcast, which is available right now on the channel. Joe Weil, the Red Sox pre- and post-game host on WEEI, gave really good insight on the prospects the White Sox got. Braden Montgomery is one of those guys that could literally go straight to the top of the top 20 pretty quickly. The guy has got huge power, a bigger arm. Maybe, just maybe, the White Sox found their right fielder. I get it. I understand the skepticism. I'm skeptical myself. Can they actually develop these guys? It's been the White Sox biggest issue. Specifically, position players. We know they can develop pitching. That's good. Back to Atomic Burrito. Who's the next player to be traded? And that's why I asked this. Like, will the Cubs actually get in? Will they be the next to make a move here? Sounds like Cody Bellinger and the talks have picked up, as I read this morning with the New York Yankees, that those talks have since continued after Dallas in the winter meetings. Expect that to continue as you look at the Yankees. They offered $750+ million to Juan Soto. They went out and spent $218 on Max Fried. If you think they're done, you're kidding yourself. We know they have interest in Cody Bellinger already. Luis Robert had interest from as many as 6 teams, according to Chuck Garfien, when he was in Dallas. I saw the Reds as a possibility. I'm a big fan of moving Luis Robert. I'm going to guess Bellinger is going to be the next to go if you're just giving me Bellinger or Robert. Eric, who would you want as the Bears' new head coach and why? Here we go. So Cap and I have been sitting in the office this morning, and I want to show you guys some of the stuff. So Bill Belichick, as we know, which is crazy. It's probably one of the biggest college football shockers in decades. I'd have to really sit down and think about a bigger shocker. So he's the head coach at the University of North Carolina this morning. So a report came out today that Belichick saw the Bears as the job he coveted most. And I want to read you this tweet so we can actually source it. My guy Adam Hogue earlier. Let's see here. Okay, so Seth Wickersham wrote a piece in ESPN.com. He said, according to sources with direct knowledge, the group deemed the Chicago Bears, and that group, by the way, the group of Bill Belichick, Matt Patricia, Josh McDaniels, and Michael Lombardi, that the Bears were unlikely to consider Bill Belichick, even though he looked at them as the most attractive job. The group expects the same thing that most around the league do, that the Bears will go offense, hoping to give QB Caleb Williams a chance at a career, probably targeting Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. So there's a lot of you out there, I'm sure, that don't even want to hear the name Bill Belichick. Cap and I agree on this. You have the guy there. He is available right now. He is on the Mount Rushmore of all-time coaches in the sport. You have an opening. It does you no disservice to pick up the phone and bring him into House Hall or fly to wherever he's at and just meet with him, even if you're just seeking knowledge. But the Bears don't do that. When you're intimidated to do that, you let something like that pass. Yes, is it weird he's going to North Carolina? Sure. But the question was asked. I'll go back to the question. Now the comments are really chiming in. I'm catching up. I want Mike Vrabel because that dude loves to win. He cares about winning. I know his record in Tennessee was up and down. He went to an AFC title game. I want a CEO that's in charge of the football team. I want a great offensive coordinator to deal with number 18. I want a good defensive coordinator to do. I want a guy that represents the room. And if somebody walks in his room, whether it's Ryan Poles or Kevin Warren or George McCaskey, that he's got the audacity and the balls to actually say, hey, right now we're talking about the game on Sunday. Give me 10 minutes. Instead of, oh, yeah, bring who else you got? You got a visitor? No. We need somebody that can actually coach dudes. And if it's a problem for the dude can go. He's not afraid to coach. That's who I want, Eric. I want a guy who's not afraid of accountability and will do anything. I mean, if you've seen some of his interviews, you know how much losing sucks to him. The Cubs better not trade for Kyle Tucker unless they extend him. Houston is asking way too much for only 1 year of him. Let me ask you this, Santos. The New York Yankees traded for 1 year of Juan Soto. 1 year. They went to the World Series. I'm not saying Kyle Tucker is Juan Soto, but prior to him getting injured, he played fewer games. Yes, this year he hit a ball off his shin. Played fewer games than Juan Soto at a higher OPS. The dude's a dude. I think you get him over here, and then you worry about it. Of course, Houston's asking for the moon right now. Let this play out. The winter meeting's just finished, okay? The Cubs aren't trading Matt Shaw in a deal for Kyle Tucker. No chance. Not for a 1 year guy. Could Owen Casey be a guy? Seems like a lot to pay for 1 year. They have 7 in the top 100. There's no reason. I don't know if there's a team that lines up better for the Astros than the Cubs. Worry about he's not going to agree to, this isn't football where you trade for a guy at the deadline and then work out an extension immediately. That's not how baseball works. So Kyle Tucker, you get him over here for a year and you see how it goes. Look what happened to Cody Bellinger. It was a 1 year prove it deal. It worked out. You extend him. So I don't understand. Like, well, you can't have everything on your terms. We want a great player, but we don't want to pay $700 million, and he's only got 1 year left, and our prospects are all going to be so good, so we can't give them up. Stop. Figure out who you want to be. You want to swim in the deep end of the classiest pool or share it with a bunch of families on vacation at Disneyland. Up to you. Figure out which baseball team you want to be. Stop with this bullshit that you can't trade. Yeah, you can't trade him because he's going to be really good. Look at his. Stop. Dude, prospects are prospects. My feeling on them, and I know maybe people think, well, you just said the prospect for Garrett Crochet. I said you have to evaluate a trade 2 years from now to really understand if the trade worked out for the White Sox. And to your point, Uncle Ted, is that how long the kid's ankle? No. The dude's 21 years old. Is that how long will it take to his ankle to heal? He's already healed. He was on MLB Network this morning. He's a righty. Okay. He's a switch hitter, first off, not just a righty. He has a 70 great arm. White Sox don't have any of those. Oh, another catcher. I guess that Edgar Caro is just the next Salvi Perez. I guess everyone's like, why'd they trade for a catcher? Because we have Edgar Caro. Who's the last White Sox catcher that's been developed? I'll wait. Cap, nice job. Ron Karkovice. That's been 30 effing years. Okay? So can we stop? Edgar Caro, what's the problem if both guys are really good? Then you have the best asset in baseball. 2 catchers. No one has them. We have a catcher. You need position players. The White Sox have an empty cupboard. It's seriously emptier than we have way more in here than the White Sox do in the minor leagues. Mike, Belichick says Bears. Yeah, we were just talking about that story. I like the who's your daddy combo here. Why do the Cubs even show up to the winter meetings? To talk, I guess. Now, to the Cubs, to be fair to the Cubs, they needed to see the dominoes fall. Obviously, Juan Soto was a big one. The Garrett Crochet thing heated up because of Max Fried. So you need to see where the next. So if they're trying to line up for Kyle Tucker, those conversations certainly heated up at the meetings. So did the Seiya Suzuki talk. So sometimes you need the winter meetings as your get me over fastball to really ramp up these next 10 days before Christmas, before it kind of shuts down again after the new year. Say it for cease. Yeah, no shot, David. That's funny, but there is zero shot that the San Diego Padres are taking Seiya Suzuki for Dylan Cease when you look at the market for what pitchers are getting right now. I heard like Sean Manaea seeking a 4-year, $100 million deal, and a lot of people think he'll get it. That's insane. Bubs, I love pretending to pay attention to my 1 o'clock meeting and hanging out with Guff instead. Hey, Bubs, tell your meeting. Pick another time. Eli, hope Fuller can develop players. Yeah, I mean, it's part of it. Like the one thing I'll say about the White Sox is we should all be skeptical, but at least Chris Getz is thinking outside the box on who he's hiring. He's bringing in names and voices from outside the organization, and he's trying to do it. Maybe with fewer resources, maybe with fewer, belief. I don't love the coaching staff return. Like I didn't like most of I thought there was going to be a massive change, and hopefully Will Venable's the guy. I just didn't like all the holdovers. I didn't. That's what I'm saying, Uncle Ted. I brought that exact scenario up. Justin, I heard the Sox could be close to bringing Quintana back. According to Travis, you know what? I like this move. Bringing Jose Quintana back to the White Sox makes a lot of sense for the White Sox. He'd be your number one. He would be a stable every fifth day. You know exactly what you're getting. Maybe it's like you probably overpay for him a little bit, but if you give him an Eric Fetty type deal where it's a 2-year deal, you could trade him at the deadline. Then you could flip him to the Cubs for Owen Casey because like that'll happen. I like just giving. Big fan of busting Cap because he's still mad about that trade. No more offensive-minded head coaches. Get an old-school Titan. We know what that works. Yeah, this whole thing, Uncle Ted's all about number 18. Like the Bears need to focus and put all of their energy into making Caleb Williams the best quarterback he can be. It doesn't mean you can. That doesn't mean you can't have an accountable head coach at the top who's the CEO of your program. Mike, I want Ben Johnson. However, Mike Vrabel is a coach that must get this Bears job. We desperately need a culture coach. Agreed. I like the idea of Ben Johnson. I just need to know when he stands in front of a microphone that it represents everything that you need from that position. Cap wants Mike Vrabel too. So the Simpsons ended up playing better than the Bears, I see. Funny. That was a funny thing. We did that last year before NBC Sports Chicago shut down. We did do a animated game with the Blackhawks for Tommy Hawk's birthday. It was awesome. Really cool, innovative experience. And the Simpsons thing was pretty cool too. Do you know how many head coaches have won a Super Bowl with 2 teams? 0, says Uncle Ted. There's been coaches that have taken multiple teams to Super Bowls now. So, yeah, Bruce Arians, for sure. There's multiple coaches. Do you agree with Carmen? Think we need a new GM to finally line some hirings? I'll say this. If Ryan Poles is making this hire, Ryan Poles needs new paper. That might piss off a lot of people. I think he does. Cap says no. I think to get the best guy, you might need a guy. You might have maybe it's not an extension immediately, but maybe it's part of the conversation because I need to know if I'm coming into this organization that has lacked accountability and structure for the last, however long, 40 years, then when I come in there, I'm not taking the fall with everybody either. So that's just the way I feel. Looks like a lot of people are lining up here for Vrabel. Uncle Ted likes it. Why did Mike Vrabel get let go? Like everything else, Tennessee started to take steps back. They started to lose, and he wore out his welcome. Just like every other he got close. I'm going to look up Mike Vrabel, by the way. I'm going to give you just the Mike Vrabel coaching record for the Tennessee Titans because I don't think people appreciated him. Like his team was not that great, and they were like perennial playoff team. Here, this was Mike Vrabel in Tennessee. He coached 6 seasons. 9-7, 9-7, 11-5, 12-5, 7-10, 6-11. So, and in the playoffs, he was 2-3. We know in 19 he went to the title game with that 9-7 team, won a couple divisions. He never had a quarterback that was all that great, and he was able to, be a great defensive coach, and most importantly, accountability. David, I have no confidence in the Bears management to make the right decision. I think you can remove Bears and just put Chicago management to make the right decision. What up, Jimbo? Pablo didn't get a chance to post this here. Great production Tuesday night of the recap show at Hooters. Met Cap, Katie, and the legend that is Ryan McGuffey. Cap's a lot bigger in person. Don't mess with him. Ooh, Cap. Pablo's pointing out those the gun show. Yeah, I'd stay away from. I'd stay away from. Let's stay away from both of us. I like Cap in the dark alley with me. The Bears should have talked to him, even if they didn't want to hire him. We're talking about Bill Belichick here. They're stuck in their own way, unfortunately, and want the nice guy they'd let date their daughters. Agreed. I want a football coach. You had Belichick out there. You have an opening. Why not at least talk to him? Just to steal, seek information. That's what you should be doing. Seek information. This front office and owner in Chicago is just so soft to get this right. Too soft to get this right. Softest team in football. Kyle Tucker's a beast. I would trade Shaw for Tucker so fast.
Oh, you're an idiot.
Tucker is a Boris. I don't think Tucker is a Boris guy. Kyle Tucker is not a Boris guy, I think. Let me look that up real quick. No, Kyle Tucker is another. Kyle Tucker is Excel Sports Management. So, yeah, not a Boris guy. Oh, there's Uncle Ted correcting himself. People are going crazy here in Carolina with the big hire. Jimbo, he's getting, I just learned this from Cap. I didn't even read the article yet. He's getting $20 million right now in NIL money. That is Ohio State type money. He is going to bring, let me tell you something. If my kid was a Division I recruit, I'd be interested in the idea of playing for Bill Belichick. All of a sudden, like no interest in North Carolina. And hey, we should probably look at North Carolina. I mean, I'm serious. You have one of the greatest coaches in the history of college football. You don't think he'll probably bring, I haven't read this, his staff is probably going to be all NFL. You want to talk about a staff that's going to be able to prepare you for the next level? What's the attempt to get that pitcher from Japan, Roki Sasaki? Yeah, the White Sox said they're putting a pitch together. It makes me smile a little bit, but his agent did come out and say he wants a soft landing spot. Cap and I talked about that. That makes me want him, as good as he could be, as good as he is. That concerns me if I'm a Cub. It does. That he needs maybe less media attention and a smaller market. So the only way you're doing that in Chicago is by going to the White Sox. But I just don't understand why he'd come over here and play for the worst team in the history of the game. And I don't think he will. But to the White Sox credit here, why not make a pitch? It's like picking up the phone to call Bill Belichick. The guy's out there, put a pitch together, and if it doesn't work, at least you can say, hey, it wasn't for lack of effort. Jess, honestly, I can't imagine that a call with Belichick will lead to much. He's shrewd, I'm sure, especially with the tweet. He would expect the Bears to do research. No harm in calling, though, Bears. That's it. That's all I'm saying, Jess. There he is, the real Phil Simms, as I call him. What is Jed waiting for? Get Tucker, Burns, Alonso, or Guerrero. Why not? Why not get them all, Phil? Like Cap says, they have the money. Do you want to win or stay the same? Craig Counsell definitely didn't sign up for this guff. Craig Counsell got $40 million in a 5-year deal. He's probably the safest person in upper management at 1060 West Addison. So $40 million in the highest salary ever for a Major League Baseball manager. He did sign up for that. Yeah, he probably thought the allowances were going to be a little bit different. They did have the 7th highest payroll in all of baseball last year, Phil, which was much higher than Milwaukee. But I don't think the Cubs are in on Corbin Burns. Okay, I think it's safe to say. I do like. I've said this. To me, I would trade for Tucker 100%, even if you can't extend him. Just get him for the 1 year. And then I love the Cubs signing Pete Alonso. I don't know if it'll happen. But like a 5-year, $125 million deal, what that guy would do in the middle of your lineup, come on. Don't you dare. They didn't draft Tyler Flowers, Atomic Burrito. They traded for him. So I'm talking about a guy that they drafted and developed, and he played out in Chicago. They traded for Tyler Flowers from Atlanta. So no offense, not disrespecting the man that is Tyler Flowers. Belichick wants to scout sororities. Easy joke there. Screw Tennessee, says the Mile High. Travis Hunter staying one more year in college. Watch. Why? He's going to win the Heisman. He's a top 5 pick. I'm not sure why, unless he's getting a ton of money, which he already is. If they want to be serious contenders, stop messing around and handle your business now. Don't disagree, Phil. The Cubs have a shot. What White Sox the attempts they're going to try? Yeah, they're going to put a pitch together, Eli. That's what they do. They put these presentations together for people like that. It's a free agent. They did the same thing for Manny Machado. They did the same thing for Bryce Harper in Las Vegas. They do that. That's the way of the world now for these big free agents. What's up, Clyde? Do you think Venable and company can make these players winners? What Venable's job to do is, Clyde, is put the players in the best position to succeed. All right. So, and play the game the right way. So if he can establish a culture and how he wants to play the game, and these bridge guys that are there now can teach the young guys coming in and playing at the same time, this is what we expect while we're here. That can be a success as you get closer to winning in 3+ years. Cap said he will talk to Jed Hoyer after the winter meetings, right? That is correct. Hopefully he's sitting on this exact couch that I'm sitting right now. Ray, is Robert next? I think so. I said there won't be many scenarios that I would bring him back unless you're truly getting pennies on the dollar. I said that last night on the score. I did a hit. If that's all you're getting, like legit, somebody's buying so low that you have to bring him back, I'm moving him. Would you bring Abreu back for first base or DH? I would not. I would not. That seems like a very old White Sox move. You talk about bringing Quintana back, Abreu. I mean, it could be a good fan move, but like, I don't know, man. Like, I just don't. I think that ship has sailed. He's one of the greater players in the history of the White Sox. They'll retire his number one day, but I do not like that. Carl, Lions and Bears started the rebuilds at the same time. The results, you know why? The Lions built from the inside out, Carl, and they have a guy that expects excellence at the top. A guy that's not afraid to hold people accountable. That's not afraid to yell. That's not afraid to coach. But their defensive and offensive lines were built through the draft and in free agency. And that's why they're better than the Bears. The Bears built outside in, and the Lions built inside out. And we know at the end of the day that Super Bowls are won in the trenches up front. Am I interested in Ryan Day? Am I talking to Ryan Day? 1,000%. Ryan Day would have his free, like, I'm definitely talking to Ryan Day. Am I hiring him to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears? I'm not sure. I need to know more. I need to know he's got a $10 million contract, but if he's fired, it doesn't really matter. Plus, these things are paid completely different in 6 seasons. So I'm definitely talking to him, David. Again, one of the better coaches in college, but tightens up in the big ones. So just had probably had the best roster in college football with the money, and it came up short. Even though I know they're in the playoff, I just don't. They're too soft to win the championship. Save the receipt again. I think they're too soft. He does not like the QB. Why would he be interested? I'm trying to put that one together. Clyde, do you think the Bears hire Ben Johnson or Mike Vrabel? Yeah, Clyde, I know you've hopped in a little late. We were talking about how Vrabel would be the guy we would want. Going home. Yeah, I've seen that tie too, that Mike Vrabel would go to the Buckeyes. I don't know, man. Vrabel seems like more of a college coach or a pro coach to me, but I guess so did Bill Belichick. Jason, good show this morning. Cap, Ryan McGuffey, how are you? Need to put the blame more on the Chicago owners. Rebuild won't matter for the White Sox unless they spend, and they won't with this owner. Yeah, you're talking about they won't be spending or contending for 3+ years. So let's talk about that. Let's see how they develop. Rudy says Big Bill is too old. Didn't make sense. Chicago media would have made him go crazy. Do you think Bill Belichick would have been afraid of the Chicago media? Come on, man. No chance. Can we add Texas OC? Bobby Slowick is under the radar. I don't think he's under the radar. I think he's on a lot of lists. But, take a look, by the way. I'm going to pull it up right now rather than have you do it, because I want you guys to take a look at year 2 of C.J. Stroud and like all this Bobby Slowick talk. C.J. Stroud, as of a couple of weeks ago, and I want to make sure I'm right before I say this. I know he's a dude. I'm not crapping on C.J. Stroud too much, but I do want to see the regression in year 2 is true. C.J. Stroud has 15 touchdowns and 9 picks. Caleb has 16 and 5. And QBR, total QBR, He's 23rd. 23rd in total QBR. So I'm just saying, watch out for that year two. What's the White Sox pitching staff going to look like? Very young, very green. Like right now, I mean, if they bring back Jose Quintana, it's all speculative. But right now, who's your opening day starter? Jonathan Cannon? I'm being dead serious about this, by the way. Who is your opening day starter? It might be Jonathan Cannon. A lot to look at there. Rudy says the Chicago media would have ran Belichick out of town. This is laughable. The Chicago media would have ran Belichick out of town as fast as they would have ordered a number one from McDonald's? Do you? That makes me laugh. Cap, that makes me laugh. Bill Belichick getting scared of the media. Joe Gersma saying, don't discount Francona in Cincinnati. I don't. But he knows how to play with less because he did it with Cleveland for 11 plus years. Lesser payrolls, smarter managers. We have a Gucci though. The Sox been in on him since last year. It's not new that they are in on him. Yeah. I don't see them getting Roki Sasaki, but I guess I've been surprised before. Who do you want as your new bear? Eric, I already answered that. I want Mike Vrabel. I want the accountability. I'd be happy with 55 wins from the White Sox this upcoming year. Just go in the right direction. Pitching isn't looking good though. Yeah, they'll sign some veterans here pretty soon. Like that's going to happen. Jess says, go Cap for putting blame on the owners this morning. I complained when Marquis asked why I canceled my subscription this year. And I said that ownership is too cheap to get great players, and I'm too cheap to pay for terrible games. Jess, that's an awesome comment. I love it. Jess says she canceled Marquis when asked why. She said the ownership is too cheap to get great players, and I'm too cheap to pay for terrible games. I love you. Cap says, I love you. I love Jess too. She's a fan of the program. Cali Blues Man. Hey, brother Guff from SoCal. I guarantee you it's 1,000 degrees warmer there than it is here right now. Bears did have their chance at Harbaugh, but decided to stay with Matt Eberflus. Rumors Kevin Warren did not want him due to personality clashes. Yeah, I know. From Southern Cal, you guys are cashing in, and we are sitting here saying, what if? Hard pass on Ryan Day, says Mike. Major culture issues. I think we've seen the college coach jump to the pros 1,000 times, guys. It's a different game. You are not it's a completely different game. And ask any NFL player that, and they'll tell you the same as well. Totally agree, Carl, with your take on the Lions. Yep, no doubt. Yeah, I agree with this, Arnie. No, please, for the love of God, no Polian, none of these Ernie Sikorsky type people on trying to get a new coach. Chris says, is this 2015 all over again? The Cubs loaded with position players, prospects. White Sox are loaded with pitching prospects. Well, 2015 Cubs went to the NLCS, so I think Cub fans would be ecstatic if that happened. The Bears have no culture. Stop talking about culture. Yeah, I agreed. I totally agree. David, hey, man, I know you missed yesterday's show. My thoughts on the trade are this. David was out in Aurora on Tuesday. It was great to meet him. So, yeah, next time, David, I love that you came out, man, so I appreciate you. I said it's an A trade. I mentioned this earlier, and I'll put it up here. There's a new podcast on the channel. Me and Joe Weil from Red Sox pre and post game. He really gives you kind of a deeper dive of who they got. I say you can't evaluate it for 2 to 3 years. I think Braden Montgomery is the prize of the trade. And let's just say, let's hopefully that happens. A couple more here before we wrap things up. Who's available on the market besides Quintana for the Sox? I would challenge you to Google MLB free agents and then go to Spotrac website. There's a boatload. There's way over 100 free agents, most of which don't make sense for the White Sox. But there's a lot of guys seeking a 1-year kind of prove it deal. That's the type of player I think the White Sox will kind of fill in their roster with down the line. Landon, I tried the CHSN app for a month, decided not to renew for the time being. Love the network and the production value. Not worth watching these teams. Well, that's good, Landon. I think I'm glad it worked out, and I'm glad the production value is high. I have a lot of friends over there, as most of you know. And from what I've seen and when I see it, which is, sporadic, it is good. And I'm not surprised because there's a lot of talented people. Pablo doing a Bill Belichick press conference. No comment. Chicago media. I'd like an answer to the question. Belichick puts the Super Bowl rings by both ears. Sorry, I can't hear you. Will not be afraid of Chicago media. Totally agree. All right, guys, wrapping things up here. I want to get to my bet of the day. I've become the ultimate fade. Okay. I've become the ultimate fade. So if you've been playing against me this week, NC, I feel like was the cooler, popped in here a couple days ago, sprayed his crap all over the recap lunch hour, and then it hasn't been back for a while. And he was telling me to stop betting favorites. Well, NC never came back with a bet of his own. 2-5. This is the way it's going right now. Jalen Brunson hits his first 2 3-point attempts last night. We had the over 2.5. He goes 0 for 4 the rest of the game, finishes 2 for 6. Very similar to how Miami came back on an 8-0 run late in the game against Tennessee. We lost by a bucket in that one. Folks, it's a game of inches, a game of buckets, a game of backdoor covers. Trust me, you think Cap and I haven't been 2-5-1 before? We've also been 5-2-1 or 7-0. It's the ebbs and flows. So tonight, guys, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going Puka Nacua anytime touchdown. This guy's a beast. We all know he had 15 targets last week. I'm sorry. I have the wrong. I wanted to look up how he was doing. He has 26 career targets against the San Francisco 49ers. He had 14 targets last week, 12 catches, 162 and a touchdown. He has scored a touchdown in 3 of his last 4 games. He has 34 targets, 44 targets his last 4 games. He's got over 100 in 3 of them. He scored 3 touchdowns. I'm taking the plus 110. So to NC, who's not on here, maybe a little bit of an underdog, the 4th or 5th best value on the board for Puka Nacua anytime touchdown. I was thinking about putting a little like catches plus touchdown. I'm on a little bender right here that's not doing so well. Eel, hey, it's Ryan McGladdery. Ryan McGladdery is here. Eel, I think it was you that posted a comment in response to the podcast today. I did see it. I appreciate it. So I'm pretty sure that was you. So I appreciate you popping in the lunch hour to say that Ryan McGladdery is in fact here. Kenny Williams is in fact not. All right, we're going to put a bow on this one. It's been the Recap Lunch Hour with me, Ryan McGuffey. Appreciate you guys. It's Thursday. Got some NFL football tonight. That's where the bet is of the day. The bet of the day, Puka Nacua, anytime touchdown, plus 110. The graphics are here. We're still killing it, folks. Appreciate you. Check out all the content on the channel. We'll have a recap rush hour later tonight. The Bulls have been off all week. There is a new Bulls podcast talking about the state of the team through 25 games with our guy Cap and Joe Cowley. And the Bulls play tomorrow night, so we'll have a recap of that one. For all the people here at the Recap, Katie behind the scenes, I'm Ryan McGuffey, and we'll see you guys next time.